Welcome to another episode of Uprise Stories. Our guest today is Ananta, who, as a physicist and engineer, has always been full of ideas and inventions and always wanted to create something of her own but could never decide what to do or how to start. Now she's building a product that lets you open your windows to lessen the fresh air but at the same time keep out any unwanted noise. We talk about the challenges she's facing creating a physical product and how on earth she settled on an idea after having literally hundreds to choose from. So without further ado, here's Ananta.
So Ananta, welcome to another episode of Uprise Stories. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
We're also joined by Stephen, who's head of product here at Uprise Academy and has kind of been, helping you through this journey that you're going on. So yeah, to get started, I'm really keen to understand why it was initially that kind of what made you decide to start looking at doing a side project, side hustle. What were you feeling kind of at that time, and why did you decide to kind of finally take the leap and start something?
Yeah, well, I had it already for a long time in my mind that I want to do to launch some own projects, and but it was always the problem that I had too many ideas basically, and I wanted I couldn't really decide which one I want to do, and but now when then Corona came, and I basically also didn't have a social not social life, but everything was very restricted, so I was like, okay, what am I going to do with my time? And then I came across this project, I saw it online, and then I was like, okay, let's use the time that I have now to start it. And and then I decided to do this. Yeah, so it was not really something that just arose immediately. It was something that I had for a long time in my mind, and it just came, I think, a bit out of the Corona situation, that I said, okay, let's do this Uprise Academy and see where it goes.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah. Nice. And how, because you say you kind of had a load of ideas in the past and you didn't know which ones to do, and I think that's such a difficult thing as, for some people, just deciding on an idea. Can you talk me through how you went through that process of actually deciding which idea you were going to settle on and go with?
Yeah, I know. I was talking to Stephen, and I was really, oh my God, I really cannot decide. And he was like, okay, put it down to 3, because initially I had 180, and that was definitely too much. And I put an Excel sheet on and categorized into different categories, do I want to do it? Is it big enough? And put a scale on it. And basically in the end, I had then 20 left. From these 20, I got a bit in this, which one I feel best with. So which one would be the one where I think, okay, I could imagine really doing this, and could also imagine doing this in 5 years, and not okay, it's something I'd like to do, but I mean, there's something that you can do for a long time, and then there are things that would be nice, but after 2 months you think okay, maybe I do something different. And it really helped me then to go through this process, and also discussing the ideas, and to find the one where I think, okay, this is it.
Yeah, it can be so hard, can't it? I really remember you saying I was like, okay, well, she probably has about 10 ideas, so we need to bring it down. And you were like, I have 180. Oh wow, that's a whole different ballgame. But I think it's interesting, right? I think by nature, because I think you're such a associative thinker, right? When A comes up, you think of B as well, and you also have the technical knowledge to potentially execute. So the world is a world of possibilities in your eyes, through your lenses, I guess. But I think what you're pointing out there, I think is so important for everyone, right? When you make a decision, because I think very often we're told to go with our gut feeling. And on one hand, I'm a big fan of gut feeling to a certain extent. But on the other hand, it can switch so depending on your mood that day, or the weather, or how you woke up and how you slept, right? So yeah. I think what you did really well through that process is you decided to gather data, right? Like, what is the data I need to make a decision on this, so that I can trust my decision, not just this morning when I feel well, but also tomorrow or 4 weeks from now. Which is really nice. And I was quite impressed actually how quickly you went through that process and was like, oh, actually, this is what I want to do. Could you, to what extent was the fact that it was potentially a meaningful project for you? To what extent was that an important factor?
That was really important. I mean, like I still remember I also had like a talk with one of the others, and she's also a physicist, and we were kind of having a lot of physicist talks, but it was really cool because we were really discussing every of those, I think it was 10 or 15 ideas left, and she said, like, you know, there are still those ideas where I can really feel that you're lining up and you really like doing it, and then there are those ideas where you actually would like that they exist but you don't have necessarily you to be the one that does it. And that was really a good point where I could figure out, like, okay, yeah, that's true. I mean, like, it would be cool, but it's maybe not me doing this. And so this also really helped me then. And what makes me feel alive? I mean, for me, what was very important to have like this engineering aspect, because I love engineering. As a little child, I always wanted to be an inventor. And I guess this is something that is still there. And yeah, when I was like, I think it was like 15 or so, then there came this thing already in my head that I want to like grow my own business. And so this kind of has to match. And for me, it has to be engineering. Of course, it's like, I think also like a longer journey than if you have an app or so, because making a product takes time, and it's like a more hard journey than if you I mean, it's not just, it also takes a long time, but like really, I mean, doing a product can also last like 2 years or so that you have something. So, but I like this journey, and it's like something I like to do in my free time also. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, that kind of marrying up of, you know, yes, you've got to think of ideas that are viable and, you know, test them and make sure there's a market for them and all of that kind of, you know, the sort of startup thinking around that side, but also matching that to also something that means something to you, so that, you know, when you wake up in the morning and you're not feeling that motivated, or you're trying to like carve out some time and it's really difficult, and, you know, that's kind of, I guess, what keeps you motivated to go through the difficult times as well.
Yes, definitely.
Something that you mentioned earlier was, you know, bouncing ideas off other people sort of in the community. To what extent was having that support network, you know, a factor in the, you know, this process that you were doing?
It's actually the most important one. Really, like, I know I read before, or you said it in one of the first calls, like that the community is one of the most important part. And I was like, yeah, let's see. But I really figured out that it definitely is one of the most important ones, because yeah, like this, having the opportunity to discuss with others what you're going through, or the ideas that you have, or how could you do this, how could you do that. And it's like, because everybody is on the same path, there's like this kind of common sense that, okay, we are there for each other and we're helping each other. And also, like, I think there are people with having at least kind of a mindset that is the same, like, okay, we want to do this. And it's really nice to have this motivated group where everybody is there for each other. So I'd say, especially when I got demotivated, and everybody has that moment, it was really good for me. There was one, I think, during that time, I had like, there was 1 or 2 weeks, or maybe, yeah, 2 weeks, let's say, where I was really like demotivated, and I was like, oh, and I questioned everything from myself to the project. And actually knowing that the others are going through the same, was helping me a lot. So there I really refound my, like, okay, if I'm not the only one, it means it's just a normal process you're going through.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a sense of validation, isn't it? That sense of what I'm going through is normal, and I'm not abnormal for not feeling motivated, or I'm not normal for being super excited, or it's like. And I remember really clearly as well, like whenever people start this journey, we always try to also show them the graph of what you're going to go through, and it's literally like that, like up and down. And I think it's called the valley of despair, where you find yourself, and just knowing that you're in the valley of despair with a bunch of people, you'll probably manage to climb out. Such an important thing. But it's fascinating. I always find how upfront, when you mention this, it feels like a very foreign thing, or personal growth for that matter. When you say, oh, you're going to grow so much, you're like, well, how? And then once it happens, it almost feels like, how was this ever something I didn't realize was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
It's huge. It's very interesting. I think. Yes.
I think it was. Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned kind of, having people with the same sort of mindset as you. Like, how can you see that your mindset has changed, having gone through this process of starting your own side project? What's kind of changed in terms of your mindset?
I think it's like, before, of course, everybody has friends, and most people are kind of excited when you talk about the idea, but there's something different when people are also on the track to do something, because I don't know, it's really hard to describe. Like, it's just like common sense, like, okay, the one talks about their project, and then the other one, and it just got kind of fired up, everything, and it just gives you even more energy to do it. And it's just the mindset. It's, I guess, like this open-minded mindset, which I guess is, I think it's the people who have that, who came through that project. Otherwise, maybe they would just not feel as if they want to join it. I don't know. But I really enjoyed that. It's hard to describe actually. But I can feel the difference, like talking when all the people are in their project, it's something else as if you talk to somebody who is not doing their own project, because they kind of can understand what you're going through, besides, like, if you're talking to somebody who's not going through such a project or such a journey, they're like, that must be really hard. But they cannot, like, I can totally understand that. I was also going through that. And that helps. Like, if you have the impression, okay, and then say, okay, I overcome this with doing that. And it's, it feels more mutual to talk. It feels better to talk to people who had the same journey or have the same journey than just somebody's being out of it. Like,
And I think with that as well, it's like, because a lot of times, like, for example, I coach, right? And I coach, in this case, I was coaching you, but whoever I coach, people are like, but you don't have any knowledge about that specific thing they're working on. But I guess what I always say to that, and I think it's exactly the same for this community as well, like, it's not that relevant. As long as you understand the sort of more emotional and challenge journey people go through, that's where people connect. Not necessarily the technical thing. So also when people, there might be a lot of people listening to this who are not interested in doing our program, but yet when they are building their own little tribe, their own community, find the people that are going through the same emotional journey, as opposed to just finding people with the same technical skills.
Definitely.
They'll be able to help you in the moment, but not throughout the whole process, which I think is super important. Something I was wondering with your projects as well is because you're developing basically hardware, right? Most technology companies now are technology based, whereas yours is also technology, but in the end it's hardware. Like, how do you even start prototyping something like that?
Well, how do you start? You just think, okay, what do I need to make a prototype? In my case, is like, I have to do this testing chamber, so I can test the materials I will use. And so I really started, okay, what is the first step I really need to do to make a proof of concept? Because of course, like, what I'm doing right now is proving the concept and not really building it how it will look in the very end, because there are different steps that have to be achieved. And the first one is, okay, proof of concept. Does it work or not? How will it work? And so yeah, first one was to build a testing chamber. I never worked with concrete before. It was a very funny day or 2 days, really going into the do-it-yourself store and like buying this 25-kilogram concrete thing and like building it. It was really, really cool, and it was really fun also. I really enjoyed it. And to see that it works, and works in kind of to build the testing chamber, because it was also not like, okay, we just do it. We have to plan it also how you do it. So, and we did all of it alone. And and then after that, of course, if I have the testing chamber, I can actually start testing. And I guess we will have to do also some simulations and stuff. But this comes after that, like how will the geometry be and stuff. So it's to get the best out of it. Say that way.
So a lot of arts and crafts in a way.
Pardon?
A lot of arts and crafts as well, next to like the hardcore physics.
yeah. I mean, of course, you can do all in theory first, and then see how it comes out. But I guess there's maybe the engineering way of doing it is better than the science way of doing it. And the engineering way would be like, okay, we just test it and see what happens, and then we adjust a little bit and see how it's getting better or not. And I mean, I was working at Bosch also, like doing in the same direction something, and this, I guess, really helped me also like understanding, okay, how to set up all this. And of course my son is and I'm really fascinated by it, and I really enjoy doing this process also.
Yeah, it's really nice. I can see you like so excited about it. It's almost like, you know, you were saying earlier, just like as a kid I really wanted to be an inventor, and I was just like, oh, I'm living my childhood dream. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's basically like a big playground, you know, engineering, but just like with other stuff, like it's concrete and not like a sand building. So yeah, I guess you have this playful, I think as an engineer you have to have that in yourself, this playful manner. And yeah.
And for you, I mean, yeah, it sounds like you're at this kind of exciting prototyping stage. Have you had any kind of moments so far in your journey where you're kind of, you know, you've had your first, you know, little or bigger wins or successes, or kind of moments where you're like, oh my God, this is like real now?
I mean, like the first success was to decide on the project. This was really the first success.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, really the first successes were now the testing chamber that I think will work. So this was, I guess, like the first successes that I had, and it's really cool.
The first success is a bag of 25 kilo on your neck.
The friend of mine, because we were doing it together, and he was carrying it because.
Oh, nice.
What do you have a man for? No, the first successes was that, but I think the first success was really like going on that journey, and because like what I had before also, sometimes I started a project and then there was a lot of work to do in my like where I work, and then sometimes it got a bit in the background, and then there was this problem. I had a new idea and I thought, oh, this is even more cool, and I want to do this, and then I started this, and then I started this, and what actually led to the thing that I started some projects but never really to the point where I say, okay. And I think that is for me one of the first successes, also to like really also put it in my mind, okay, I go with that one, and whatever idea I have that comes along, doesn't matter, just write it down maybe for the future or whatever, but for now, really to commit. I think this is committing to that one project. And I think also this committing point is very crucial, and the community helps a lot to like really keep up. And we're still doing this Monday calls in our group, which also helps you keep up with that and also have this commitment kind of thing. And yeah.
Nice, exciting stuff. And so what kind of what is a kind of one main piece of advice you would give to someone that was maybe in your shoes a few months ago and thinking about, oh, I've got loads of ideas but I don't know what to do, and like, where do I start? What's one piece of advice that you give them?
Yeah, talk to people. I mean, people are sometimes afraid of talking, but it really helps. And yeah, if it's the problem with having too many ideas, really put it into data. Because data doesn't lie. This is something as a physicist, you're like, okay, because you get tricked very easy because you think, oh, it must be like that, but yeah, and just keep going, I think, because sometimes it's hard to motivate. I think that's normal. And like, sometimes you just keep going and take it serious, but with some kind of humor, maybe. Having fun with it. So yeah.
Great. Fantastic. And if people want to connect with you, find out more about what you're up to and all of that kind of stuff, how can they do that?
Wherever they want. I have LinkedIn, I have Facebook, I have Instagram. So, and of course, I have an email address also.
What a professional you are.
I mean, like how they couldn't connect to me, like, shall I put my email address here? Or?
If you want to, otherwise I can put a link to your LinkedIn and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that will work fine.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us so far, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm also very excited, and I'm really thankful for doing this journey. I really enjoyed it, and I would do it again every time. So you really helped me a lot, and yeah, I also wanted to say thank you. You helped me. Yeah, I really enjoyed also our calls, Stephen. It really helped me because, like, sometimes, you know, if you have a lot of things in your mind, and I think this is one of my problems, having too much things in my mind, and you really helped me putting all the chaos into like structure, like this. And I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. Yeah.
Perfect. No, you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you very much.